Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and this is the HTC Flyer. And I'm going to try and keep this video relatively short because, as you can see, it is 98 degrees and I just turned off the air conditioner to shoot this. The Flyer is a 7-inch tablet, and it's probably got one defining characteristic, well, a couple of defining characteristics that really set it apart from others. One is that you can use it with a stylus, but it has a capacitive touchscreen, finger-friendly display. The stylus is for writing handwritten notes or drawing or doing things like that, but for the most part it works like an Android smartphone. You interact with it using your thumbs. It has the HTC Sense software, and it runs Android 2.3. So you can see, for instance, that we've got nice big full weather widgets, book widget, media widgets, and so forth. And the weather application is really kind of pretty impressive here. So it gives you sun and some information up here, and we can go to the more detailed view here and see the forecast, hourly forecast, 5-day forecast, other cities, and so forth. So the Sense widgets are pretty nice. Another thing that I kind of forgot to show you here is when you first turn it on, Sense has a different kind of lock screen than the standard Android interface. So the one thing that I handed this to my wife, and when I handed her the Motorola Zoom, she couldn't for the life of her figure out how to turn it on. Here, power button's pretty easy to find, and when you can't figure out what you're supposed to do to unlock, it actually says pull to unlock. So that's how you open it up. And if you want to just launch one of these applications that you have a widget for, the calendar, the internet, etc., you can tap on it and you'll get a message saying drag icon to the ring to activate. And then you can launch straight into the web browser. Since we're in the web browser, let's take a quick look at the browsing experience. It's a pretty decent web browser, loads pages pretty quickly, and supports multiple tabs. So we can launch a new window here. Actually, I think I just created a shortcut by accident. And then we can see a list of different windows that we have open. We've got pinch to zoom. One thing that bugs me a little bit is you would think that when you tapped on a screen it would automatically minimize this taskbar at the top, but it doesn't. So in order to make that go, we have to click up here. And it works pretty nicely in landscape or portrait mode. Now, one thing that's really kind of nice about the entire user experience is you'll notice down here there's a couple of capacitive touchscreen buttons at the bottom. They glow a little bit. You've got home, menu, and back. Tilt sideways. And we've got the same buttons. So the buttons actually duplicate on both sides of the device, or on both orientations. So that's a nice feature to have. The keyboard is really pretty great for typing with 2 thumbs. If you're holding it in portrait mode, much easier to type on than many smartphone keyboards that I've used. The Sense keyboard itself is probably a love it or hate it kind of thing, but you can install third-party keyboards if you really want. But the size is really quite nice, and Sense does have a couple of nice things here, such as the .com button, or tap to do tap and hold for special characters. One thing that I really like here is these arrow buttons along the bottom, which allow you to move the cursor. Trackballs, like you have on the Google Nexus 1 or some early Android smartphones, are pretty much on the way out. So if you want fine control, you can sort of try to tap and make sure your thumb's in the right place, but that's pretty hard to do. So having these buttons to go forward and backward is really nice. It's launched the New York Times website. This is one I haven't actually loaded yet here, so let's just see how quickly it goes. There you go. So that's the web browser. We can get a view of multiple apps that are running here. I just want to go back to the home screen and show you the Reader application, which is kind of nice. So you can see book information, you can read your books, you can get to a bookshelf, and adjust various settings about reading and so forth. And one of the things that's really kind of neat about the Reader application is you can use the stylus to take notes from any screen. So let's take a quick look at how the stylus works. The stylus is not for navigating. You can't just tap on the screen and expect the stylus to do anything except what it just did. I'll show you that in a second. But what you can do is tap down here and again, I'll show you that in a second. What I wanted to do was show you in the Reader application. Let's tap, pull up the different pen that we want to use, and now I can take notes in the margins, and they'll be saved with the book. So now as I switch back and forth from page to page, those notes are saved with the book. So that's actually probably one of the best uses of the stylus with the HTC Flyer is annotating books. And on other pages or any other screen, you can use the stylus to open up a notepad or tap on the screen, create a screenshot, and use what's called the Scribble application. So I'm going to tap here in the corner to bring up my brush menu. I'm going to switch to a yellow brush, and I'm going to write Hello World. Now it supports pressure-sensitive input to some degree, but in general, I find the handwriting to be a little bit difficult, and that's because, I mean, you can put your hand on the screen and it doesn't recognize your hand, it just recognizes the stylus, so that's good. But as you're writing, you sort of have to click pretty hard, I feel like, to get things to register. And my handwriting is pretty bad, so I mean, honestly, handwriting isn't something I'm going to do that often. The biggest problem, I think, though, is that there's no handwriting recognition software. So while you can do handwritten notes, and let's go ahead and open a notepad here, switch pens, take a note, what you're left with then is something that says take a note in your awful handwriting. There's no way to search it, there's no really way to index it, it's not converted to text. So this is something that I feel like Windows machines, Windows mobile machines have been doing for a decade or longer, but it's something that you can't really do with this particular implementation. So, I mean, if you're the sort of person who likes handwritten notes, you tend to use a lot of paper notepads, and I've talked to some people who've used the Flyer who, you know, they go through notepads every week, filling up paper after paper after paper. This might be an alternative that saves you some paper, saves you some ink. But if you wanted something that was going to be converted to text for printing or other purposes, this might not be the best solution. So there you go. So that's basically what you can do with the stylus. It's interesting. Actually, there's a couple of other things you can do, I suppose. In the Note application, it synchronizes with Evernote, so you can search for notes in Evernote. And you can, you know, put text in there if you want to. And let me just show you real quick. You can use a couple of keys on here for highlighting your text if you hold one, or erasing if you hold the other. So that's what this does. Now the thing is, the Active Digitizer comes standard, the stylus does not. So the tablet costs about $500 and it includes that Active Digitizer, but you have to spend an extra $80 in the US to get the pen. The pen's something I don't think everybody's going to want, so I think that might actually be a good call. But I think the Active Digitizer doesn't make a lot of sense without the pen. So I'm not entirely sure why HTC didn't just make it make a $450 version or something a little bit cheaper without that hardware, and then offer a version that comes with the pen and with the Active Digitizer. That said, I mean, it's a nice tablet. I think at $500 it might be a little bit overpriced for what some people need, but you know, it fits well in the hand. The 7-inch 1024 by 600 pixel display is great for reading web pages, for watching videos, for playing games, and you know, you can fit a lot of great stuff on the screen. It's not as large as some other tablets, so you know, for instance, here's the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1. And you can see, you know, this is something that's going to be easier to fit in a pocket, easier to carry around. The weight's not a huge difference. This is about 0.9 pounds, this is about 1.2 pounds. They actually both feel pretty good in the hand. But if you're looking for something that's going to be a little more portable, easy to put in a bag, easy to put in a pocket, something like a 7-inch tablet could be a good choice. So, and this is probably one of the best 7-inch tablets. I thought that I would be upset that it doesn't come with Google Android Honeycomb, but right now there are still so many good applications that are designed specifically for smartphones, not for Android tablets running Honeycomb, that you know, you can barely tell the difference. It doesn't do a lot of things that you couldn't do with a smartphone, but it has a higher resolution screen, it's a larger screen. If you find a 4-inch or smaller phone to be just a little bit too small for reading web pages comfortably, for reading books comfortably, for watching movies, this is something that might make a good alternative. And it's also a Wi-Fi only tablet at this point. There should be 3G models later and 4G models. So if you're looking for something that doesn't require a monthly subscription plan to get the most out of, it might be good for that as well. So there you go. That's the HTC Flyer tablet. This is Brad Linder with Liliputing.